I'm Skip Benton with Coldwell Banker Select Real Estate in Nevada, and welcome to Life After the Family Home. Smart conversations about downsizing and planning the next chapter. Today, I want to talk about something many longtime homeowners have, but do not always think about in practical terms: home equity. More specifically, how much equity are you sitting on, and what could it do for you? For many homeowners, the house is their largest financial asset. They may have owned it for 20, 30, or even 40 years. The mortgage may be very small or completely paid off. The home may have increased substantially in value, and on paper, that can look very reassuring. But home equity is different from money sitting in a checking account. It is real value, but it is value tied up inside the property until the homeowner makes a decision about the house. That equity may not be doing very much to support daily life. That is where this conversation becomes important, because many homeowners are sitting on significant equity while still feeling pressure from monthly expenses: property taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, repairs, medical costs, travel expenses, helping family, or simply wanting more financial flexibility in retirement. A homeowner may be worth a great deal on paper and still feel financially restricted month to month. The house may hold the value, but the value is not necessarily creating freedom. That does not automatically mean the home should be sold, and it certainly does not mean every homeowner should rush into a downsizing decision. It does mean the equity deserves attention. Because the right question is not only, what is my house worth? The better question may be, how could this equity support the life I want next? That is a much more useful conversation. For some homeowners, the answer may be that the equity should remain in the home. The house still fits, the costs are manageable, the lifestyle works, and staying feels right. That may be the best decision. But for others, the answer may be different. The house may be larger than needed. The upstairs may rarely be used. The yard may be demanding. The maintenance may be growing. The monthly costs may feel heavier, and the equity may be sitting in a property that no longer fits as well as it once did. That is when downsizing becomes more than a real estate decision. It becomes a financial planning decision. Imagine a homeowner with a 5-bedroom house. The children are gone. 2 bedrooms are used for storage. The upstairs is rarely visited. The yard needs regular care. The house may be worth substantially more than what is owed. That homeowner may have several choices. They could stay. They could sell and purchase a smaller home. They could buy something with cash. They could reduce or eliminate a mortgage. They could move into a lower maintenance community. They could keep part of the proceeds available for savings, travel, medical needs, family assistance, or simply greater monthly security. The best answer depends on the homeowner. The point is this: the equity creates options, and understanding those options creates control. One of the reasons homeowners avoid this conversation is that home equity can feel abstract. They know the home has value, but they may not know what they would actually receive after a sale. They may not know what a smaller home would cost. They may not know whether moving would really improve their finances. And without real numbers, the idea remains vague. Vague ideas create anxiety. Clear numbers create better decisions. That is why the first step is not necessarily listing the house. The first step is understanding the picture. What is the home realistically worth in the current market? What mortgage balance, if any, remains? What selling expenses should be considered? What would the likely net proceeds be? What type of replacement home would fit? What would that home cost? What would the monthly expenses look like afterward? Would taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance be lower? Would the move free up cash? Or would the cost of the next home use most of the equity? Those are the questions that matter, because it is easy to assume downsizing automatically means saving money. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does not. A smaller home in a more expensive area may cost just as much. A condominium may have association fees. A newer home may cost more upfront but require less maintenance. A manufactured home may offer a lower purchase price but include monthly space rent. Every option has trade-offs. That is why the decision should be based on the full picture, not just the size of the house. Another important consideration is how much of the equity should remain invested in housing. Some homeowners want to buy the next home entirely with cash. That may create a strong sense of security, no mortgage payment, lower monthly obligations, a simpler financial picture. Others may decide to use only part of the equity for the next home and keep more money accessible. That might create greater liquidity, more money available for emergencies, travel, healthcare, home modifications, or other priorities. Neither approach is automatically right. The right balance depends on income, expenses, risk tolerance, future plans, and personal comfort. Those are conversations worth having before the house becomes a burden. Because once life forces a decision, options can narrow quickly. A health event, a major repair, a loss of income, a family emergency, those situations can turn a thoughtful decision into a rushed one. And rushed financial decisions are rarely the best decisions. That is why I encourage homeowners to look at equity before they feel pressure. Not because they need to sell now, but because they deserve to understand what is possible. For many longtime homeowners, the emotional side of this can be difficult. The house may feel like security. Selling it may feel like giving up something permanent. And using the equity may feel uncomfortable. Some homeowners were raised with the idea that the home should be preserved at all costs, that the equity should never be touched, that the property should remain intact for the children. It is important to remember why the home was built and paid for in the first place. It was meant to support the homeowner's life. That purpose does not disappear later. The equity is not only an inheritance, it is also a resource created through years of ownership, payments, maintenance, and responsibility. Using part of that value to create a safer, simpler, or more comfortable life is not irresponsible. It may be exactly what the equity is for. That does not mean spending carelessly. It means using the asset thoughtfully. There is also a difference between using equity and wasting equity. A well-planned move may reduce monthly expenses. It may create an emergency reserve. It may eliminate deferred maintenance. It may provide funds for future care. It may make travel possible. It may help a homeowner live closer to family. It may simply create peace of mind. Those can all be meaningful uses. The plan needs to be realistic. That means looking beyond the sale price. It means considering taxes, moving costs, repairs before sale, real estate fees, the cost of the next home, association fees, insurance, utilities, transportation, and the long-term affordability of the new location. The goal is not simply to unlock equity. The goal is to improve the homeowner's overall situation. That is the real test. Will the next step create more flexibility, more comfort, more manageable expenses, less upkeep, a better lifestyle fit? If the answer is yes, then the equity may be able to do far more than sit inside unused bedrooms and a large yard. Another reason this conversation matters is inflation. Even homeowners with a paid-off house can feel the pressure of rising everyday expenses. Food, insurance, utilities, healthcare, vehicle costs, home repairs. A fixed or limited income may not stretch the way it once did. And at the same time, the home may have grown significantly in value. That can create a mismatch, a valuable asset, limited monthly cash flow. Again, selling is not the only possible answer. Some homeowners may explore other financial options with qualified professionals. Downsizing is one option that can address several issues at once. It may reduce expenses, simplify maintenance, improve the layout, and turn part of the equity into accessible funds. That combination can be powerful. The key is to start with goals, not with the house, not with the money, with the life you want. What do you want the next 10 years to feel like? Do you want less responsibility, more travel, more time with family, a home without stairs, a smaller yard, a predictable monthly budget, more money available for healthcare or emergencies? Once those goals are clear, the equity can be evaluated as a tool. The home equity should support the plan. The plan should not be built only around maximizing the equity. That is an important distinction, because the highest sale price does not automatically create the best life. Sometimes location matters more. Sometimes family matters more. Sometimes a newer, lower maintenance home matters more. Sometimes staying close to doctors, friends, or familiar services matters more. The financial decision needs to support the whole person, not just the spreadsheet. So, where should a homeowner begin? Start with three numbers: the realistic market value of the current home, the likely net proceeds after the sale, and the realistic cost of the next housing option. Those three numbers create the foundation. Then compare the ongoing costs: taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, association fees, transportation, and any expected mortgage payment. Then look at the remaining equity. Would there be money left over? How much? What purpose would it serve? Emergency savings, income support, travel, healthcare, family assistance, future care, or simply peace of mind? Giving the money a purpose helps the decision feel more intentional. It also prevents the conversation from becoming only about selling a valuable home. The real conversation is about converting one form of value into a life that may work better. That is what thoughtful downsizing can do. So, if you are sitting in a long-time home with substantial equity, and you are also noticing that the property is becoming expensive, demanding, or less connected to the way you want to live, here is the takeaway. Do not look only at what the house is worth. Look at what the equity could make possible. Do not assume staying is automatically the safest financial choice. And do not assume selling is automatically the best one. Get the numbers, understand the options, define the lifestyle you want. Then decide whether the equity is serving you best where it is, or whether part of it could support the next chapter more effectively. Because home equity is not only a number on paper, it represents years of ownership, years of payments, years of care. The question is whether that value should remain entirely inside the house, or whether it could now help create more freedom, comfort, and security. Thank you for joining this conversation on Life After the Family Home. Smart conversations about downsizing and planning the next chapter. I'm Skip Benton with Coldwell Banker Select Real Estate in Nevada. I'll see you in the next conversation.